Could Ben Johnson have a Sean McVay level impact on Caleb Williams? One analyst seems to think so. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, what Andrew Billings is excited about when it comes to Dennis Allen's defense and how that's going to affect him and Gervon Dexter. We're also going to look at the unsurprising UDFA that's probably going to make the final roster. We'll talk about all that plus more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Derek Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. I want to start off by talking about the comments from Big Billings, Andrew Billings, right? This is a big guy, 6'1", 311 pounds. The Chicago Bears production on that defensive line fell off so drastically after Big Billings went down, right? And so when you look at Billings and what he can bring to this team, what he's already brought to this team, it's been great, right? But when it comes down to it, he's coming into a new role with the Chicago Bears saying this: it's still part of the defense. We'll see if we can get a free 5 yards. That way, we'll still have it. The veteran defensive tackle has said at least one indication that he will still be able to utilize his skill set. And while his role is still yet to be defined, and there goes for those people who have been questioning if Gervon Dexter is still going to be a starter, even though we here at Chicago Bears Central have told you that. But even Big Billings is saying that his role is still going to be very much defined, but he still will be a role and have a spot here on the Chicago Bears team, and a big role with that being said. But, one of the things with Bears fans, and this is always something that I notice, Darius is a perfect example of that. Like to cast doubt on players, and it starts off being rooted in something legitimate, but then it starts taking like a whole new life. It's been pretty straightforward and given that Gervon Dexter and Grady Jarrett are going to be our starting defensive tackles for a while. But because some Bears fans, they want to be the smartest person in the room and just be different. Oh, Gervon Dexter, he's not going to start. Billings is absolutely going to be a starter. He's our only guy for run defense. We got to start Billings. It's been basically already said. And you know the thing, and I get it, Ben Johnson saying that there's an open depth chart, I get it, and I understand what that means. But some people have now taken that to try to give themselves credence to any kind of wild speculation that they can have on who's going to be a starter at a different position. And anytime you point it out, well, Ben Johnson says the depth chart's open, it's not settled yet. It's like, come on now. What are we going to do? Anyway, Billings also goes on to say this: I'm working through everything with everybody else. Part of what we're doing here, too, is figuring out our roles. Of course, I had a big role last year, but everywhere you have to work up to maintaining that. That's what we're looking for. I'm still going to be the run stopper. I'm still going to work on my pass rush. I'm still going to work on my movement and keeping my energy up. And, so with the additions of Grady Jarrett, with the additions of Shamar Turner, there's going to be a lot of energy on that defensive line. And that's how Dennis Allen likes it. He wants to be able to use different looks and things like that. And that's going to be great there. I think that we're going to have our best defensive line rotation that we've had in a while. I think with adding Grady Jarrett there and all those type of things. Billings also goes on to say this: I think that's what really the newest thing for us is the scheme and what we're seeing out there every day. It's a lot of movement. It's a lot of things we have to anticipate happening. That's the biggest thing. Yes, it's going to be a lot of movement. It's going to be a lot of different looks. It's going to be a lot of fronts. It's going to be a lot of switching on sides. That is going to be the creative part about this defense for the Chicago Bears, and that's going to be how we take advantage of what some of the other offenses are going to be doing, right? And so I think that's a good thing. And seeing Billings really engage and understanding that his role is going to change, but he's still going to be the run stopper, right? Like you're still going to have, especially on clear rundowns, I think you're going to have Grady Jarrett and Andrew Billings out there. I just think that's probably what you're going to have on clear running downs in situations. You're going to have Billings out there with Grady Jarrett. Maybe Gervon Dexter, if he shows that he can grow in that run defense, which is the area of growth that he definitely has to achieve coming into this year. But that's just what comes down to it. Billings goes on to say this: I think what we've done great is that we've gotten into the playbook. We've gotten through the whole thing. We go through it again for round 2. I think we set the standard, set the tone. When we get back, we'll know right where we are and what we have to do to get off to a great start. So look, it's great. Billings is going to be ready. I think there's no question about that. He's pretty much healed up from his injury. He's going to be ready to go when the Bears come back in mid-July. That's going to be a perfect thing for him to continue to his development and things that he needs to go and get through. But Billings is going to be a big part of this defensive line rotation. Make no mistake about it. He was brought in here to be a swing tackle. He's still going to be that swing tackle. But with the way that Dennis Allen is going to like to use creative fronts, he's going to still play a lot of snaps out there. And really it's going to come down to while Javon Dexter's slated to be the starter, he's still going to have to earn the right to be out there and clear rundowns, because Andrew Billings right now and Grady Jarrett are probably going to offer the more sure thing in those situations. And that's where it's going to have to come down to. And Shamar Turner nipping on the heels there too. He's going to be looking for some snaps and earn his place in that area as well. So that's really good there. And, we have more on it as well as far as Javon Dexter. He talked about him organizing the defensive line workouts that he organized early with him, Grady Jarrett, Montez Sweat, and others. And he talked a little bit about that. And he knew what Javon Dexter knew what he was doing with that. He knew what the Bears were going to be bringing with that. But I'm gonna let him say it in his own words here.
You were named multiple times by your teammates as a leader because you were the guy that texted everyone and got them down to Florida to start working out. And to hear that from someone like Grady Jarrett, I think we're all it was like a pleasant surprise to hear that you were the one to organize that. What was the genesis of trying to bring everyone together and go and work out together?
I think obviously as I've been only in the league so far, going on year 3, I've noticed that guys who kind of rush together outside of, the facility, guys who hang out outside of the facility, those guys on the field rushing together is it's a second nature. So just being able to kind of, after Grady signed here, after saying that he was coming here, just trying to get the guys together early and hang out, just know the guy, learn the guy before you get in the building, where we obviously now learning plays and bullets are flying, just try to get some of that stuff before we get in hand, just to hang out together as well.
Was that something you learned from being in the Bears locker room, or just kind of studying maybe other teams and talking to guys around the league?
Yeah, I would say a little bit of both. Just watching and then watching how guys rush, just like seeing other teams rush. There's no way these guys don't hang out outside of, so after seeing that and then feeling that, and then even for me, I looked at it as seeing Grady Jarrett, I want to get some of that knowledge right away, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to wait till two more weeks to OTA start. I wanted to get some of that knowledge right away, so a little bit of that as well.
So what's the knowledge you instantly asked Grady Jarrett for?
Man, I'm still asking, honestly, but
great resource.
Right, 100%. Just some of the stuff Grady has hit every goal that I have on my list so far. He's still knocking them off as well, but just to see. Just to have a guy like that, not only in the locker room, but
hearing Javon Dexter talk about this, this is why when you hear so many things about the growth that Javon Dexter's having, not only as a leader, but also as somebody who just understands that what's needed to be successful at this level. He's understanding. Believe me, Javon Dexter, more than any Bears fan could point out, understood how bad his production fell off last year on the second half of the year and overall what happened on the defensive line, right? And so you have players that have things to prove, like Grady Jarrett he's still trying to prove to people that he still is somebody who definitely still has a lot of gas in the tank, and what he can prove with this team, and make no mistake about that. But Javon Dexter understands that him learning to become a better interior pass rusher, what he's going to have to do to get there, and how he can learn from the players like a Grady Jarrett that's there, right? And what he's done over the past decade. Grady Jarrett has a decade of showing what he can do at the NFL level. And Javon Dexter would be stupid to not try to put himself in a position to try to absorb some of that and learn some of that. So having that guidance from Grady Jarrett to unlock some of the things in Javon Dexter that's there, let's keep in mind, he's 23 years old. 23 years old, right? And there's a reason why he's drawn comparisons to players like Chris Jones. He's going to have to light that fire under himself and get motivated and show the world what he can be, but he's going to have to prove it. He's going to have to prove it. That, I've talked about the doubt that Bears fans have about Javon Dexter. Yeah, they're there. And guess what? They're still warranted. Regardless of how much I agree with the level of doubt around Javon Dexter, there's a reasons to doubt. There's things that Javon Dexter still needs to go and grow through. And last year was his first year as a full-time starter. And there was a lot of questions on that defensive, just the defense overall, how he called plays, the lack of having a solid pass rush, the inability, we did not blitz much at all under Matt Eberflus, and now those things are shaped up to change under Dennis Allen. Is just him bringing more fronts than he does, more creativity on that defensive line. And do not overlook, the thing I keep going back to is Dayo Odeyingbo. I think that this guy, he may be one of the more, other than Javon Dexter, one of the more slept on acquisitions that the members of the defensive line, but also slept on acquisitions that the Chicago Bears made this past offseason. Mainly because, like, of course, you had your sights set on the bigger names, and that makes sense. No mistake about that. I understand that. But when Dennis Allen identifies somebody that he wants to go out there and get, and you get that guy and bring him into the system, believe me, Dennis Allen has a plan for how he wants to use Odeyingbo. And I think that plan comes from using this combination of size, speed, and strength. And this is a guy that, just from his presence out there, is going to have to make you think about if you're going to double team Montez Sweat. And we'll see what this defensive line can bring. This is one of the more exciting things I'm looking for, because if we have a solid pass rush, as well as better production in the run game from our front four this year, that's going to change and free up a lot of what we do in other places on the defense as a whole, right? And so that's the exciting part to look about all this, and we'll see how it shakes out and how it works out for the Chicago Bears for sure. But outside of that, right, one of the names for the Chicago Bears as far as a UDFA that I've been excited about literally since we signed him was Power Echols. And Power Echols signed a unique deal, right? And so now there's been some talk that Power Echols may be the most likely candidate of the UDFAs to make the final roster. Now, there are some other ones as well. Make no mistake about that. But he may be the most likely candidate, saying this. Bears general manager Ryan Poles awarded Echols with a fairly hefty contract in undrafted free agency. The former Tar Heel standout signed a deal containing $130,000 in guarantees, according to SpotTrack. The money is notable enough to increase his chances of making the team. The tape paints a more encouraging story. Echols was a workhorse at UNC, recording 100-plus tackles in 2022 and 23. As a senior in 2024, he totaled 76 tackles and 6 pass breakups en route to honorable mention All-ACC honors. Echols entered the draft as a productive and experienced prospect with well-developed eyes. His downhill instincts were a little inconsistent, but he showed enough aptness to flow sideline to sideline. Now, one of the reasons why Power Echols has an amazing chance to make this final roster for the Chicago Bears, I think, comes down to not only his performance that he had in college, for sure, that is definitely one of the reasons there, but even outside of that performance, it's the depth. When you look at the depth at the linebacker position, we don't have a lot of surefire things there. Let's look at the middle linebacker, right, where Echols is slated to play. You have TJ Edwards there, who's slated as the starting middle linebacker. You got Tremaine Edmonds, the weak side linebacker. Of course, Ruben Hippolyte, Noah Sewell. Those guys are fighting it out to see who's going to be the starting strong side linebacker. But outside of that, you got Carl Jones. You got Amin. I always kill his last name, so I'm not going to say that. But Amin's there too. But both of those guys are more special teams players than they are anything else. So that then puts Power Echols at the position where he has a clear fire route to being a one of the first linebackers off the bench for the Chicago Bears. And in Power Echols, you're getting a guy that was a proven commodity in college. Now, all that does not transition over to the NFL, right? We understand that college production, NFL production could be two very different things, right? But when you look at what he brings to that linebacker position, his ability to be used in coverage, right? His intelligence, the way that he does have good eye training when it comes down to that as well. All those things paint a picture to where Power Echols can definitely make an impact for this Bears team right away. This is a guy that has been productive when he's out there. And so that productivity and being a center in college, a senior in college, you like to look at that as, again, a more proven thing. A guy that his freshman year only 25 total tackles, over 100 tackles in each of his next 2 years. He had 2 sacks in 2022 as well, 1 pass deflected in 2023. He had an interception in each season that he played, fumbles forced in each season that he played. This is a guy that's an absolute monster. Now, the question is how much is he going to be able to adapt to the NFL level of play? That's going to be a thing for him. But because of the uncertainty around the linebacker position, which we've been so focused on the starting strong side linebacker, that I think we do have to spend some time talking about, like, the depth at the linebacker is a little bit shaky. That's why you hear things like Daniel Hardy maybe playing a little linebacker, even Dominique Robinson playing a little linebacker, right? But so because of those things, You also have, of course, Ruben Hippolyte and Noah Sewell, whoever does not make that win the starting position, they're also going to be a depth piece that's looked to do some things. But Noah Sewell hasn't proved much in the NFL level. Like I said, Carl Jones and Amin are both two guys that are more so special teams guys. Power Echols has the instincts, he has the poise, and he has the leadership qualities to be a guy that can definitely make the Bears' final roster. And that's it. I think him and Major Burns, both of those two guys, Major Burns being in the secondary, even with the depth of the secondary, have a path to making the final roster, the final 53 for the Chicago Bears. I'm not saying it's a surefire thing, but I do think when you look at Power Echols and his tape, you look at his mindset, you look at his mentality, the fact that he's a dog, all those type of things, that gives him a leg up, I think, to make the final roster for the Chicago Bears. But it's not just about what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Hearing all this from Power Echols, do you think this is a guy that has the makeup to be a Chicago Bears linebacker? And I say that because being a Chicago Bears linebacker is a little bit different than being a linebacker anywhere else because we have different expectations. But do you guys think that he has that ability to make that? Let me know what you guys think on that down below. One of the things that I do want to talk about outside of football, then we'll get back into the football things a little bit. We got something I talked about at the top of the show that it's been said that Ben Johnson could have a Sean McVay type impact on the Bears. But I want to talk a little bit about Jaquan Brisker. We heard a little bit more about it, right? Jaquan Brisker talked about having to retrain his nervous system, saying this. I went to a doctor in Pittsburgh, and he basically just explained the type of concussion I had and told me how to retrain it. Really just doing exercises. That's really what I had to do. Then I did furthermore later on when I got to California. And so it seems like that the injury to what we had, his third concussion in as many seasons when it comes down to it, there's a lot of talk about his long-term health. He was even asked, a little while ago, was retirement ever on the table for him? And he said no, right? It said that there was never a conversation that they had, never something that they really thought about, but it's scary enough to say that. And while the recovery process for him was long, and it was detailed, to hear that he really had to retrain his nervous system, right, to prepare for it, that's there. Like, we know that Brisker can be such a key part of this Bears defense. And I hope that for Brisker's sake that he stays healthy, even outside of what it holds for the future of his career here with the Chicago Bears. I just hope that this is a guy that can find a way to stay healthy because he clearly loves football, and he's a very good football player. And you just want to see that work continue to develop and grow into what it can be. And, we'll see what happens when it comes down to that. But prayers up for Jaquan Brisker. And hopefully that this season is a revelation for him and a season where he can stay healthy and just go out there and execute. So we'll see what happens there. But let's turn this around real quick. We got one mailbag I want to get into, but I want to get into this. Dan Orlovsky talked about Ben Johnson, and he said that he worked under some great coaches, and he knows how McVay turned Goff around. He said that what he's learned about Johnson, there's no doubt in his mind that Caleb Williams is set up for success. He said that that he has more natural talent than Goff did. I don't disagree with that. And that if he puts in the work and the system does what it's supposed to, the league isn't ready for what's coming. He said this on ESPN, and again, talking about that Ben Johnson and the impact that he can have on Caleb Williams. We all have talked about this ad nauseum. We know that the relationship between Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams is going to be one of the most important ones that we've seen, right? Now, he's going to have to function in the pocket. That's great, right? He's going to have to learn to play under center, which is something that he's going to have to grow and develop with as well. But when you look at the mechanics that he has and how McVay worked with Goff in Los Angeles, if Ben Johnson can have that type of impact on Caleb Williams, you're talking about the makings of something that's going to be the basis of a franchise turnaround. And that's what we all want here. Can he do it? That's going to be one of the bigger questions. And I think Ben Johnson has, there's a lot of hype around Ben Johnson. How much of that hype is he going to live up to? That's some question to ask somebody a lot smarter than me, but we'll see. Right now, Ben Johnson and Caleb are two very hyped as a coach and as a quarterback. Now, what they're trying to do is find that path to get there together, and let's hope that they can do that. I think that they can. I think that the Bears are working on something that's going to be really special here in Chicago for years and years to come, but we got to prove it. Everything has to happen on the football field, which leads us to our voicemail. So we're going to get into the voicemail. This one's from Keys.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Keys on this lovely Sunday afternoon, man. Hope it's all well with you and yours, but let's get to it. I watched it live from yesterday with C-Dub and Bobby, man, which one of my favorite things to do on Saturdays. I'm chilling is watch you guys get into the topics and everything like that. And Nothing against my man C-Dub because I'm behind everybody 1,000%. But we do have to be a little humble going into the year. Now, as hard as that is, or as easy as that is to say, I do believe that we have made the strides to be a better team overall. And I do believe that it's going to take some time for us to get to that exact level where I know we're going to go in the next 2 years, right? Let's not be blind, okay? In my perspective, I do believe that Caleb, talent-wise, is the best quarterback in the NFC North. Team-wise, I know we have the talent to be there, and I don't want to call us the best yet or one of the favorites or the second best. I'll probably go third right now. And I'm not going to sit there and front like, hey, do I believe that Green Bay has gotten better? To me, I think they're at a stalemate, but they have good coaching because they always there and they always win it, and they have the linemen to prove where they need to go. The Detroit Lions, they have lost a lot of pieces. That's players and coaches included. I think it's around 8 or 9. They're still going to be a force because they do have some dogs from that team that they built, and they got Dan Campbell, who I think can orchestrate where that team needs to go. Minnesota, I think a lot of people are overlooking them, and I think a lot of people really overlooking J.J. McCarthy. And I think KOC is the perfect coach for him. A lot of people say, well, he did this in college, he did that. Look, all he did was win. I ain't going to even front. I'm a Michigan fan just like Bobby. I don't put nothing past J.J. McCarthy being that guy. Do I think he's going to be better than Caleb? Hell no. But the way KOC coaches that team, bro, and what he does for the quarterback is going to be essential. And before he tore his knee up or whatever, he was going to probably be that guy. But let's not overlook nothing in this conference. Let's be a little humble. And, I do believe we're going to get to the next level. But let me know what you guys think. As always, Chi-Town up, bear down.
Keys, I think everything comes down to this. Letting the Bears earn it this year. No matter the level of hype that we have, no matter the level of acclaim, no matter the level of hope that we have for this team, they have to earn it. They have to earn it on the football field. That's what it all comes down for me, for example. Making this team earn it on the field. Get it on the field. That's the most important thing. Can you go out there and make the most of it? Can you make the most of it? If you can, great. If you don't, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be ugly. But that's what this Bears team needs to do. They need to earn it on the field. All the preseason hype, all that is great. We got some talent on both sides. And like you said, to make a move in the NFC North, you're talking about you have to at least win 10 games. That's at the bare minimum, even with some teams taking maybe a little bit of a step back. That's doubling your wins from last year. If you're talking about having the chance to win the division, you're talking about you need at least 13 to 14 wins. That's 8 more wins than what you got last year. That's almost half your season. So there's a lot that the Bears have to do to really be taken seriously in the NFC North. I hope that they can get there. But, and that's why I keep using this phrase. I'm not letting my excitement over this team turn into expectations. They got to prove it on the field. Let's hope that they can do that. I pray that they can do that, and we shall see. But let me know your guys' thoughts on everything down below. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like we like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.